What's up, guys? This is the Can't Lose Show. I know you missed me last week, but we're back. I got Jace alongside with me from Up Your Score podcast. What's up, Jace?
What's up? How we doing?
Doing good, man. I missed you guys last week. I know, just things got busy. I got tired. It's not that I lost track of football because I was still watching it, and we're gonna talk about that. We got some major news uh from last week's football, and this is what I want to kick off the show with. You're repping Green Bay. There was a little thing that happened that reunited two former Green Bay Packers, Devontae Adams to the Jets. How do we feel about it, Jace?
Dude, so they're 2-4, right? And first of all, I'm super excited for them to be back together. I mean, from 2018 to 2021, they were the best quarterback wide receiver duo. It wasn't even close. They had
Mm-hmm.
52 touchdowns in that span. That was the most by far in football.
The best in
And
the red zone.
exactly. And Adams was getting, 18 receiving touchdowns a season. He was ridiculous. He was getting 1,200 yards about on average. So I mean that just helps them so much. And the Jets are obviously struggling right now. Rodgers looked really good though last week. Obviously, if their kicker could kick some field goals, they win that game. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's the right fit. I know there was rumors that Adams didn't want to go there because Rodgers is obviously nearing the end of his career, and you know, people are saying he might retire after this year. I doubt that highly. I don't think he wants to go out on a year like this. I would think maybe
Yeah.
next year. But yeah, either way, it's a good fit. And I mean, I don't think wide receiver was the biggest need, but obviously, now you have Adams and Wilson. You can't double both, so
Mm-mm.
it's gonna be tough for any defense, especially when Brees Hall finally had a good game last week as well.
Agreed. I was honestly, you know me, I'm a 49er fan, but I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. So seeing him being able to team up with one of his former teammates, his honestly right-hand man, it's just gonna help the Jets out so much. And I know they're 2-4, and it's like it's still a long shot, but in that division, anything could happen. You only have the Bills at the top that you're chasing, an unfortunate loss because what, three missed field goals by their kicker or two, and
Yeah.
then also
Yep.
the Bills had some. It was an ugly kicking game, but man, for being 2-4, they definitely have the most upside for a 2-4 team out there. I feel like.
Yeah,
Um,
and they call it Green Bay East now. That's what they're calling it.
I look at
And
their roster, that it
and
literally
literally,
is.
I don't know if you saw today, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling just got cut by the Bills.
Hmm.
Don't be surprised if Jets pick him up. Former Packer as well. That was one of Rodgers' deep threats. Just to
Yeah.
have, you never know. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now, and they definitely have a chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, that Bills game was huge because if they would have won that game,
Yeah.
they're in first place, tied with the Bills, and they obviously have the head-to-head. So being a game back, but really being two games back because the Bills have the head-to-head. But they just got to start getting on a roll. They got to keep winning. And if anyone's going to do that, it's going to be Rodgers. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be
And
tough.
honestly, I know you said earlier like maybe Adams didn't want to go there, but watching him on the Pat McAfee show, him coming onto the video and knowing that he's living with Aaron Rodgers, they're so happy to be back together.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
has a good quarterback finally. No diss to Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, but straight diss because they're absolute trash and not
yeah.
an NFL starter. So it's it's good to see him back in a happy spot and gonna tear up the league again, of course. Uh, talking about tearing up the league though, let's get into our third of the way MVP and also other NFL awards talk because we've seen a lot of balls so far. What, we're 6 weeks in. I think we could start crowning some awards. And it may not end up like it. Some people drop off, but right now. Let's talk about our coach of the year.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. There's a lot of good coaches.
Mm-hmm.
It man, I want to crown this coach right now, but I was thinking Dan Campbell, but they're 4-2. So right now, in my opinion, again, no one had this team being 5-0 right now. I got to give a shout out to Kevin O'Connell. That's going to be my coach of the year right now. The Vikings
Yeah.
are 5-0. They had a gauntlet of a schedule when they faced you guys in week 2, the Texans, then they beat us in Green Bay, and then they just beat the Jets, winning all of those games and obviously being 5-0 right now. It's huge. And they have an easier schedule coming up after the Lions this week. And I mean, their offense is clicking, and it's right there at the top. I got to give credit when credit's due, coming from another obviously NFC North team. But yeah, I got to go Kevin O'Connell right now.
Okay. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. On my paper, I have three coaches. Kevin O'Connell
Yeah.
is definitely one of those for every single reason you put, and he's actually at the top of that list. But I have
Mm-hmm.
Dan Quinn turning the Commanders in from absolute poverty
Mm-hmm.
franchise to a contending team, obviously led by Jaden Daniels, and we'll get into him later. I already know he's on some of our lists. Um, and then Jim Harbaugh. Not that the Chargers are doing like wow, like taking the league by storm. But the football that they're playing, if you would have given me last year's Chargers with all their weapons, I'd be like, okay. But they don't even have those weapons this year.
Yeah.
It's it's amazing what one coach could do for a franchise. So I have all three of them, but yes, Kevin O'Connell is leading the way. Um, Defensive rookie of the year. This one was a little harder for me because I really haven't been paying like attention to like what year people are in. I see all the stats because I can't watch every game. Uh, but one that stood out to me was Latu. I
From the
definitely
Colts.
butchered that last name, but
Yeah.
what a steal of the draft. Um, I don't know how he fell so far to the Colts, but right when that happened, honestly, on draft night, seeing his highlights and stuff, I'm like, this guy's gonna be a dog, and he's been nothing short of that. He's honestly balling this year, and as long as he stays healthy, he'll stay in this running for defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, you stole my pick, man. That's my boy, UCLA Bruin, even though obviously,
Hmm.
UCLA football is not a lot to get excited about. But
How do you say his
yeah,
name?
that it's I have no Letu is right. I don't know how to say the first name.
Okay.
But yeah. Letu. I don't know. But no, yeah, that was my pick. Just another guy, even though he doesn't light up the stat sheet, another guy that kind of just sticks out to me, even if he might
Hmm.
not be doing it right now. Jared Verse on the Rams. That's another guy that came to my mind. But yeah, I mean, there's not really like a top tier right now, kind of like we saw with last year. But yeah, I,
Yeah.
I would say right now, Lay 2 is my pick as well.
Okay. Offensive rookie of the year. Um, my answer is gonna take him off my MVP one. So for that reason, I'll just go out and say it's Jaden Daniels. I see him taking the hardware home for Rookie of the Year. He's gonna make a push for MVP if he keeps his play up. Don't get me wrong. Don't want to take credit away from him, but right now he definitely has Rookie of the Year or Offensive Rookie of the Year on lock.
Yeah, easy pick. Jaden Daniels for sure. And, Dan Quinn was right there at my top of the coach of the year job as well. So you got to give credit to him. But I mean, you talk about already setting a couple records.
Hmm.
Rookie to record the highest, the first rookie in NFL history to record the highest completion percentage in a game. And that was back in week 3 through 21 for 23, a 91.3 completion percentage. And that's just one stat. Then he
Hell
becomes the
yeah.
first player in NFL history in the first 5 games to throw for at least 1,000 passing yards and rush for 250. And then through 6 games right now, he has 1,400 passing yards, 10 total touchdowns, a 75.3 completion percentage, over 300 rushing yards. And the most important stat that I would say, he only has 2 interceptions, and those are his only 2 turnovers.
You bring up all those stats, and they say the game gets faster going from college to NFL, and it takes time to adapt. For some reason, something that's in his water and CJ Stroud's water from last year, it must slow the game down completely because you don't get those stats coming from rookie quarterbacks ever. And I understand CJ Stroud did it last year, but like you got to look back past that. When's the last time a rookie quarterback came in and took the league by storm? And that good, you know? There wasn't
Hmm.
even quote unquote pieces in Washington for him to succeed like this. Obviously, they have weapons. I'm not saying they don't. They have Terry. But they no one expected this right off the bat. And his stats just jump out at you. And thank you for bringing in those stats. I didn't have those on my paper, but I kind of figured I saw your little hype on him and rightfully so. I was like, he's gonna come with stats for that.
Yep, yep, yeah. He is the whole reason why the Commanders are 4-2, and no one had him at the top, and they're completely excelling in those expectations right now.
Hell yeah. Um, Comeback player. Honestly, I'm sure if you guys remember last year, I don't really like this award. Um, I don't like that it's given to people that don't truly come back from an injury anymore. If you're on the bench and you go to somewhere else and you play good, that's not comeback player of the year to me personally. So this award's a little hard to pick, and I for sure picked a guy coming back from injury. But I want to hear who you have first.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to pick Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he's the favorite, or he was at least coming into this season. But I
Hmm.
got to give it to this guy because he's been playing a little better. I got to go Kirk Cousins.
Okay,
Kirk Cousins coming back from the Achilles that he suffered in Week 6 at Lambeau last year, and he's playing really darn good. He already set the Falcons single game record for over 500 passing yards in the
that
game.
was a crazy game.
Did that in his third, fourth game as a Falcon, and that's kind of crazy for all the years that Matt Ryan was there. But yeah, he does that, and he's just I respect him so much. Watching that quarterback show when he was on it, and just seeing how determined he was and how nice of a guy he is. And I mean, he's got pretty much 1,600 yards right now as we speak passing. He has 1,598. He's got a 66 completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 5
That's crazy.
interceptions. But he's winning football games, and they're
Yeah,
4-2. And I think their most impressive win was that game against the Bucks because
yeah,
the Bucks are their biggest competition.
agreed.
Obviously, the
And
Saints came down to earth.
he
They're
has
two
the
and
whole city
four.
behind him right now. Like
Exactly.
when you're after the game, and everyone sees it. He's white. He has no rhythm. He has no, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're swag surfing with the crowd. It's like he's definitely got the city behind him, and it's it's good to see. And what's crazy is like we talk about this Achilles injury like it's the end of the career. I
Yeah.
would we could argue the top three comeback players of the year award finalists are all coming back from Achilles injuries. Um, and they all came back pretty quick. So to see him do that, it's like I agree with your pick, but I have someone else
Hmm.
coming back from an Achilles injury, and it's not named Aaron Rodgers.
All right. Let's hear it.
I have J.K. Dobbins.
Okay. I like that pick. I like that pick.
Like I was saying earlier about the Chargers and Coach Jim Harbaugh. Did we expect the Chargers to be doing this good? Obviously, I know they're not killing it, but they're playing better than I thought. And J.K. Dobbins was like, obviously, he's had the past where he is good, but coming off an Achilles injury, you're just not sure how you're going to come back, especially at running back. The quarterbacks get hide it a little bit more because they're not running as much. But what he's been able to do, it's just, I don't know. That Achilles factory that they all went to, do you need a do you need to tear your Achilles to come back into the league and get some hardware? And that
Yeah.
might be the secret sauce, but I don't recommend it. But if you want some hardware, might as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
Defense of player of the year. These next three awards, they get a little more like I didn't know how to pick some of these. And don't shake your head if I give you an answer that comes from,
Fred
but
Warner.
yes, Fred Warner.
I called
I
it.
understand there's other players out there tearing it up. And honestly, if we would have done this episode a day before Sunday, it probably would have been Aiden Hutchinson. He's been on a tear this year. It obviously it could be other players. It could be your boy in Green Bay. It could be TJ Watt. But what I get to see every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, it don't matter what day he's playing. Fred Warner is a machine. There's not another guy in the league doing everything that he's doing at this high of level. his pass coverage, t- there's no one even close. His run defense, no one even close. The fact that he creates turnovers, I know he only has, I say only like it's not crazy, but three forced fumbles. Really, he has six because he's forced three other ones out. It's just the offense came up with the ball or it went out of bounds. So we could say six forced fumbles. I think two or three picks, and one of them's returned for a touchdown. And not to mention his sacks. It's like, who's doing all that and is going to take Fred Warner's Defense Player of the Year away? It's hard to get a linebacker to get Defense Player of the Year, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to give my flowers where flowers are due, and it's Fred Warner's Defense Player of the Year.
Well, since you picked one of your players, I'm going to pick one of my players, and I'm going to pick the best safety in football right now in Xavier McKinney.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
was saying,
Nothing wrong with
who?
that.
Everyone was saying, who is this guy? Why did Packers give him 72 million for 4 years? And hey, I saw him on the Giants, watched a lot of film, and I knew this guy would be the perfect fit. And for him to have five interceptions already, and obviously, this last previous game against the Cardinals was the first time he didn't have an interception this year in a game because he had one
That's
within the first five
crazy. That's
games.
crazy.
Yeah, first player obviously ever to do that in your first 5 games in a new uniform, and then to only allow three passes in coverage. He has more interceptions than passes allowed in coverage. He's the highest graded safety in football, and for him to just be the leader of that defense because Jair Alexander missed a couple games. We've had to have some guys step up, but for him to just be the leader of the defense, for him to not be selfish. He said earlier this week, we just care about wins. I don't care about stats. He was asked about if he can, he was asked by a reporter, "Oh, are you going to try and get double-digit interceptions this year?" He just cares about winning. He's so unselfish, but he's so good at doing it. And he's such a game changer out there in coverage. And he said in an interview that cracked me up last week, when people throw deep on me, I take that personal. Kyler Murray did not throw one pass deep in last week's game. So did that for a reason. And obviously he was the reason, but I gotta tip my cap to him. But like you said, Hutchinson by far was on track. And obviously, again, sucks for that terrible injury that almost made me vomit when I saw it live. I mean, I
Yeah.
hate seeing those injuries like that. But hoping for a speedy recovery for him. But I like your Fred Warner pick. You brought up some good points. I can't lie. So definitely gonna have to keep him in the
Yeah.
back of my head. And he's by far my least favorite player to face when the Packers face the Niners every single year. Because as you say, he literally is in every single play. And you are 100% correct on that.
Yeah. And honestly, both of our picks are not the quote unquote defensive player of the year person because they don't, it's become a defensive end pick, someone that's getting sacks. And I really hope this year it changes just because I think both of our people that we brought up are deserving of the award. It's just, I don't know. Something's changed since the early 2000s when linebackers used to take this award home all the time. And I'm hoping that, it changes, especially for Fred Warner's sake. But let's move on to offensive player of the year. I want to hear yours first because this one was a little hard to pick in a sense because like you give MVP to quarterbacks typically, but if you don't give it to a quarterback, then is he offensive player of the year? So what do you have?
Yeah, I don't like picking a quarterback for this award ever. It was Nico Collins before he went on IR. He was
Hmm.
projected to get to 2K receiving yards. He was dominating. But I got to give it to Derrick Henry. He has found a new home. He's been dynamic. You talk about already 700 rushing yards. I know your boy Mason's only about 100 yards behind him. And then for him to have 8 touchdowns already in 6 games, like this guy's gonna get 20 touchdowns. I think that's pretty much a guarantee if he stays healthy. And then I'm not saying he's gonna get to 2K yards, but he has a chance to get to about 1700 yards
That's a
if he's
good
already
that's a
at
good
if he's
guess
already
right
at
there.
700 in 6 games. You would think he's on track to. But yeah, I think right now, I think it's Derrick Henry. No one else really came to my mind except for maybe quarterbacks. I know Alvin Kamara has had a good season. Saquon was lighting it up early on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that's who I'd go with.
I, you know, not gonna not gonna drag this one on, but I have Derrick Henry as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just what he's been able to do, and obviously, right when we heard the Ravens are acquiring him, we knew that this was great for him, and put the crown back on him because he will take Offense Player of the Year award, and I don't see anyone catching up. What CMC was going to give him a run. We haven't had CMC in 6 weeks. There's no way he comes back and does enough in those times. And never wish an injury upon anyone, but that's like the only way he could catch up to King Henry is if King Henry fell off due to injury. But I don't see that happening. I don't see them slowing down. So King Henry for sure on this one.
Mm-hmm.
MVP. Jace. I don't want to see your head shake when I say mine, but go ahead and give me yours.
Oh my gosh. No, no, no. You got to go first now. And I'm just going to try and go deaf here for these couple minutes that you're about to just praise your boy because this is crazy. Come on,
How?
man.
How is
Four
it
and three?
crazy?
How is that valuable?
How is that crazy? What think about what he's done for this team. Coming into the season, you, the media, everyone else that's not a 49er fan. What is he going to do without his weapons? How is he going to respond? He has not had the best offensive player and reigning offensive player of the year in his offense all season. He has not had Debo Samuel 2 out of 2 games. He has not had George Kittle 2 games. He has not had a health or an on track Brandon Ayuk by any means. He's had Jawan Jennings, who's a third slot receiver.
I get
And
your points, but to be 3 and 3, I just can't pick someone because it's most valuable player. I gotta pick a team that's doing better. And I know you guys will get there. I get
who?
it. But I just wait for my pick. But go ahead.
Okay, but to your point, we're 3-3, but it is not Brock Purdy's fault that we're 3-3. He is not the one that's losing these games. He's not the one that our kicker wanted to go make a tackle on a kickoff and we couldn't kick a ball to pull out a win when Brock Purdy kept us in that game. I understand it was against the Cardinals and we shouldn't have been anywhere near that. But our defense kind of folded in the second half and our offense put up the points, you know, but it was not Brock Purdy's fault that we're 3-3. He's been so valuable to our team. I guarantee you, Jace, any other quarterback on our team right now, we could be shit out of luck and be 1-5. Or yeah, 1-5. Like he is a baller. And I think he's finally turning the tide on what the media wants to put out for him. Oh, last pick, system quarterback. I'm seeing a lot more good things about him. And don't worry, I'm still saving your text. I'll come back to it in 2 years. But let me hear your MVP.
So I told you earlier it was Jaden Daniels. I don't want to say the same player twice, just because of how valuable he is for them to be 4-2, and no one had him doing this good. So I'm going to pick someone else, and the guy that I'm going to pick is C.J. Stroud. I'm going to pick C.J. Stroud right now for my MVP because the Texans have been a dumpster fire for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons. And for him to just turn this franchise upside down for what he was able to do last year in his rookie season and so far this year, I mean, they were the second worst team in football. They draft him second overall. He leads them to the playoffs last year. And then we move on to this year. He's 5-1. I know the stats statistically aren't showing him that he is an MVP type of player. I believe he's tied for fifth in passing touchdowns with 10. And I think
Yeah.
he's sixth in passing yards or seven, something like that. So he's still having a good season. And, for him to be leading that team at a very young age and already, you know, just call him cool and collective. That's kind of what I like to call him. I mean, he just goes out there and he just plays. There's no BS. There's no, talk off the field. He shows it all on the field. And that's what I love about him the most. Super humble guy and just goes out and balls. And right now, that's why I have him as my MVP. I really do believe when they get Collins back, they have a chance. If anyone's going to knock out the Chiefs, it's going to be them. And that is because I think that offense could outshoot the Chiefs offense. Even if they get Rice and Pacheco back,
Yeah.
even if they get their full team back, I think if there's one coach and one team to beat them, it's the Texans. So I got to go with CJ Stroud right now.
Okay. I'm not gonna hate on that pick. I'm a big CJ Stroud fan. I could easily see him taking home the hardware. He's the third favorite right now to win it. Brock Purdy's the fifth favorite. So they're they're gonna be making their stride.
I want to say something really quick. I want to blast the odd makers on still having Mahomes as the number one favorite
It's
when I'm looking at the top 20 passing touchdown leaders and passing. He's not even in top 20 in passing yards. He's
it's
not
the
top
name at this
20.
point.
He's not top 20 in passing touchdowns. And he has 6 interceptions, the most in the NFL. And Mahomes is still the most valuable player because they're 5-0. That is just comedy. And let's
Yeah.
not act like the Chiefs haven't had one of the easiest schedules to start the season. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, you played the Ravens week 1, sure. Good game, good win,
But it's
okay?
week one.
But then
Anyone wins in week one.
exactly. Then you play the Bengals who they're starting to
It's
play
not a
better,
good
but
team.
they always start out 0-2. They're never good in
Yeah.
the first 2 weeks. And even though Burrow's playing really good right now statistically, they were not the move right there. And they still barely won because the refs bailed them out like they do time and time again. Okay.
Yeah. He will
And
always be on this list as long as he's playing football just because of his name. And you know, it is what it is, but hopefully as the season goes on, he drops in it.
yeah, and then Falcons, Chargers, and Saints, like, Saints, that was Saints suck. Like they
Hmm.
came down to earth. They had their little 2 week run. They're 2-4. They're banged up. And Chargers, sure, that's a good win for, not having Rice, not having Pacheco. I get they're banged up. Fine. I'll give you that win. But I'm just saying, like, they've had every single one of their games until that Saints game last week was decided by 6 points or less. One
Yeah.
possession. So they're not blowing teams out. They're barely getting the job done. So yes, they're 5-0. Yes, their defense is back. It's looking like last year. I get it. Chris Jones, he's probably the most dynamic defensive player besides TJ Watt when he's left 101 on the D line. I get
Hmm.
all that. I know he's a disruptor for both the pass and run. But again, Mahomes to be the MVP favorite honestly makes me mad. And my
Yeah.
friend Jack, who's a Chiefs fan, he was laughing. He's like, Jace, I don't know how Mahomes is that. Like, he doesn't even think Mahomes is MVP.
Yeah, and
So
Jack
it's
is one of
it's
the most
comedy.
honest Chiefs fans, so
Yeah.
um let's get out of these awards though. A lot of things happened this past week in the NFL. Um we already brought it up, but Aiden Hutchinson going out is a big blow, and that's one of my major things takeaways. I want to see how this Lions team comes back, especially after a huge victory, but a huge blow and a loss of Aiden Hutchinson. Um I think that's going to be key moving forward because when you have one of your guys, obviously it's not Jared Goff, but I think it's the next most important thing to these Lions. Um, just to see how they're going to respond is we'll see. They have a huge matchup this week. I don't want to get there yet, but that's one of my biggest things is that Lions win was very impressive, but a major loss there.
Yeah. It's going to be huge because, like you said, he was the reason why their defense has been playing so good.
Hmm.
And, for him to be the disruptor he was, leading the NFL in sacks, 7.5, it's going to be interesting. And this Sunday is going to show that because they're going to be playing right now the best team in the NFC with the Vikings being 5-0. And for them
Yeah.
having probably the hardest schedule through the first 5 weeks, and they're 5-0. Like, it's crazy what the Vikings have been doing. Obviously Brian Flores, for what he's been able to do, if he doesn't have a head coaching job next year, I don't know what to say. I mean, for what
I don't
he's
know
been
if he'll
able to
ever get one
do,
again. I think he might be blacklisted from NFL head coaching because he's definitely deserved another shot and he still has not got it. So,
yeah, that's I know there's that whole situation, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it for what he's been able to do and everything. So again, it's going to be on the pass rush. If the Lions, if they even want to win the division, it starts with their defense because their
Yeah.
offense by far right now is the best in the football league. And for them to be where they're at, 4-1, they got to win this game. And it's going to be, who controls that line of scrimmage versus the Vikings O line, and then the pass rush for the defensive line for the Lions.
Okay. Let's stay in the north. Something else that I want to bring up from last week that just, needs a little attention is the Packers win over the Cardinals. What a dominant win. We're not saying the Cardinals are a Super Bowl team by any means, but to go out there and put 60 minutes of absolute ass whooping on a team, it was so good to see, especially because, you know, I'll root for the Packers when they're not playing the 49ers because you come on this pod and very, I'm very thankful for the time you give. So to see my boys' team win like that, it's nice to see, especially handing the Cardinals a loss after they freaking gave us a loss. It's a
Well,
weird
you're
football game. I don't know how, but I'll still say the 49ers are better than the Packers. Um, but yeah.
I was going to say, first of all, you're welcome because I know you were a big Green Bay fan this week, meaning you needed us to beat the Cardinals so you guys could be first. So,
Yeah.
first of all, you're welcome. And secondly, yeah, super, super pumped. I told my buddy one of my buddies at school who's a big Packer fan like me, and we finally felt like that was our first game where we played well in all phases, offense, defense, special teams. Even though our kicker missed another field goal, obviously we just picked up Brandon McManus today. Super excited about that signing to get a new kicker. But that was really our only weakness on our special teams. But yeah, I like what I saw. Finally getting a dominant win, especially at home. So that was very relieving to see for sure.
Oh yeah. What was there a thing that you wanted to bring up from last week that you wanted to just give a little spotlight to?
Um, I mean, there's. I'll say this: the game that kind of shook me, I'd say. Well, there's a couple games, but I would say for the Commanders to play as close as they did to the Ravens in the
Yeah.
bank, a tough stadium to play in on the road, and for Daniels to be in that game all the way, and everyone thought it was going to be a blowout and this and that, and they were in it. Obviously, they lost by 7. They just didn't get the job done toward the end, but again, just seeing him, battle Lamar like that as a rookie, it takes guts, and for him
Mm-hmm.
be, in that position. And again, they were without Brian Robinson Jr. too, who's been a
Yeah.
huge part of that offense. So again, for him to not have his primary tailback with him that whole game, and again, for him to be just in that position to potentially give your team a huge win. You were a 7 underdog point differential. So that was a game that stuck out to me. And then obviously the Lions, I enjoyed that butt whip. And I hate the Cowboys. You hate the Cowboys. Even though
Yeah.
I do need the Lions to lose, I'll enjoy that a little bit just because I'm pretty sure America, if you're not a Cowboys fan, you enjoyed that for sure.
The
Worst
best part
loss in Jared Jones' career owning the Cowboys in 38 years.
and the best part, cherry on top on his birthday.
Exactly.
In his
Exactly.
Jerry World. It couldn't have been any better.
Yeah.
All right. So you already know the 49ers went up to Seattle in prime time Thursday night football, the battle of Richard Sherman, because who else to give credit to when you have a legendary career in Seattle? You get your chip there, but then you come to the 49ers and ball out and get your deserved pay. So we'll just say the battle of Richard Sherman Bowl. The 49ers handled business. And I don't even think there was a question in this game. I saw a lot of great things from my team, and Seattle, I don't know who they are really because they obviously have the record, but then we could say their start of their season was an absolute cakewalk. So I don't know where to put 49ers after this. But I think we went in there and did what we absolutely needed to do.
Yeah, no, I watched a little bit of it, was working, but got off early, watched the whole fourth quarter. Yeah, I mean, you guys dominated, especially with Mason going down too. That was huge to
Mhm.
see. I'm gonna probably butcher his last name, but you're
I
you're,
will
you're
butcher
running
it with
back
you.
Isaac
Gorardo or
Guarando, however
yeah.
you pronounce it. Yeah, for him to have 10 carries for 99 yards, did his thing. Brock Purdy did his thing. Yes,
Hmm.
I did say that in 2024.
Oh,
So
I
I
will
did say
definitely have
that.
this obviously screen recorded clipped just for you, and I'll spin it some sort of way.
So
You know, Brock
I'll
Purdy
give
did
him.
his thing for MVP. I'll figure it out.
Oh, not for MVP. I hope you don't try and clickbait that. But he did his thing this week. He did his thing this week. He did. 3 tutties, 255 yards, very efficient, didn't turn the ball over. So Debo finally had a huge game. Needed that
Yes.
confident booster. Kittle, 2 tutties. I think he's tied with the league lead with 2 other guys for 5 receiving touchdowns. And that's also, like you mentioned, with him missing 2 games. So
Yeah.
yeah, you
And
guys.
you don't get that from a tight end right now. Tight end and
No.
especially playing fantasy, tight end spot is stupid, pointless. But guess who has George Kittle on his team? The only smart person. Just I don't know, it fell in my favor. But this week's game, honestly, besides the football aspect of it, I know you said you were working, so I don't think you caught this, but maybe you saw some highlights. But after George Kittle scored and Kyle Juszczyk scored, them being able to hop in the stands and do a Lambo leap at
Yeah.
Lumen
Yeah.
leap into their wife's arms was pretty cool to see. And you don't get to see those little feel good stories all the time. So I thought that was just pretty cool to highlight from that game.
Yeah, no, definitely domination. And again, Seattle being the second loudest, road stadium, only behind Arrowhead in football. So tough whenever you have a real game in Seattle. And that was obviously a game you guys needed to win.
Yeah.
And you got the job done in a 2 possession game. So
Yeah. Um, Man, I could talk about my Niners dominance all day, but we got to move on. Niner faithful, we'll come back to you for sure. We got the 49ers Chiefs talking a little bit, but let's look at the next week as a whole. There's quite a few good games. This could go down as one of the better weeks of football this year. So, with that being said, let's start it off with our dogs. Jace, just tell them if they haven't listened. What's a dog?
yeah, I mean, it's a guy who, you would pick that you think is going to go off in that particular week, and a guy who obviously is a game changer in that specific game. So for me, I'll go first. My dog of the week, I'm going to go with, getting his boy back. He is projected to play Sunday. Let's go with Aaron Rodgers. Let's show him some love.
Oh yeah.
It felt good last week to see another Hail Mary, number 4 in his career. That was awesome. Just a perfect
Who
moment.
only rushes two on Aaron Rodgers on a Hail Mary shot? Come on now.
Exactly. Yeah, that was gave him way too much time. But and then obviously only fitting that a former Packer, Alan Lazard, caught it too. That was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers. This is a game, like I said, they got to start winning. I said this earlier. They got to get on a roll, and it starts here. Steelers are struggling. They're starting Russell Wilson, which I don't agree with. I know Fields hasn't been playing great, but hey, Rodgers won't be complaining after this win that they're about to get, in my opinion. So I think
Yeah.
Rodgers has to perform, and I think he will. So I got Rodgers this week.
Okay. And I'll put a cherry on top of yours. Two of his touchdowns are going to be to Devontae Adams.
Yes,
All
yes,
right. My dog of the week. And this one, it's like, ooh, I don't know. This game could be shit, but I just want to see it because it's in prime time. But I'm going to go Justin Herbert against the Cardinals on Monday Night Football because I am a big quarterback fan. I've always been a Justin Herbert fan ever since his Oregon days. And at random times throughout the season, I will always give him a dog of the week nod. And this is the week that I'm going to do it. He's going to go into Arizona on Monday Night Football and hand the Arizona Cardinals a blowout loss. And that's just kind of how I see it. If I lived in Arizona like someone, I might go watch this game just because of Justin Herbert.
I might go. I am so tempted to go. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Um, Matchup of the week. You kind of went there a little bit with my matchup of the week, so I will continue all the way there. Devontae Adams versus the Steelers secondary, 2 weeks in a row. I love when trades happen and it kind of falls this way. Mike Tomlin said it already this week. He's like, I had to prepare for Devontae last week. I have to prepare for him this week. And to see what he could do. Obviously, they both kind of have an advantage, right? They saw each other last week. They kind of know how each other's going to play each other. But Devontae did not have Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So I have, like I said, Devontae winning this matchup with the 2 touchdowns that I threw on top of your dog of the week, Aaron Rodgers.
I like it. I like it. It's going to be a good matchup. For me, I'm going to stick with my team. Last time I said this guy on your podcast, he didn't play that week, and I was mad. I said
Yeah.
Jair versus Jefferson. How about this rivalry? Stephon Diggs versus Jair Alexander. The last time these two guys matched up against each other, it was in Buffalo, and they were talking their talk. Packers were coming out of the tunnel. Diggs followed them out on the field, and obviously they have a rivalry back when he was guarding, Diggs in a Vikings uniform. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. Obviously, Nico Collins being out, if Packers can, try and eliminate Diggs as much as possible, it's going to be tough on Stroud to go into Lambeau, and I think that's got to be the game plan. Eliminate Diggs as much as you can, and I'm hoping Jair could win that matchup. So that's my matchup.
Hell yeah. I'm going to stay right there at that game. We're going to transition into our games of the week. And my one of 2 games of the week is Texans going into Lambeau. Um, for some of the reasons that you just said for that matchup solely, but also because I want to see where the Packers are truly at and also where the Texans are truly at. The both teams are playing very good football, and I think this will be a good bar set for who really is a good team. Are we going to see 4 good quarters of football from Green Bay this week? Are we going to see 4 good quarters of football from CJ Stroud and the Texans offense? I don't know, but for our sake, from a 49ers standpoint, I would want the AFC team to win from a personal standpoint. And since you're on my pod, I would like to see the Packers win. So this is going to be a good game. And that's why it's one of my games of the week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure your other one, like me, would be the Chiefs and Niners, but we'll touch on that one in a second. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. So the other game that I want to touch on is Lions versus Vikings because obviously the winner of that game right now, yep, the winner of that game right now would be the NFC North division leader, and
Yeah.
Vikings are coming off a bye week. Maybe it throws them out of the rhythm a little bit. You never know. And Lions obviously just lost Hutchinson. We just talked about it. That's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a story. Can the Lions pass rush get to Sam Darnold? Because when you can put pressure on him, they're beatable. And Packers were able to do that in that second half when they were down, 28-7 and a half or whatever it was. And they were almost able to come back and win that game. But yeah, I think if they can get pressure on Darnold, I think Lions have a chance. They have the best running game in football, the best duo. So it's going to be tough, but it's going to be another super good game to watch as an NFL fan for sure.
Yeah. I think, like I said to start this little segment, this is going to be a great week of football. And those 2 games and this other one that we're about to talk about are going to be the highlights of this week. So, with that other game being talked about a little bit, let's just get into it. 49ers Chiefs. We all know what this is. It's the Super Bowl rematch and could well possibly be this year's Super Bowl. Obviously, the Chiefs are 5-0. We're 3-3, but we're both in first place for our division, both lining up for a playoff run. It's still early, but Jace, what do you think about this game? Because the 49ers have not gotten over the hump of beating the Chiefs in since I'm trying to look it up, 2014? We don't
Mm-hmm.
play them very often, don't get me wrong. We played them
Mm-hmm.
2014. We beat them 22-17. In 2018, we lost to them 27-38. In 2020, we all know what that was. We lost to them. In 2022 regular season, we lost them. And then in 2024 Super Bowl, we all know what that was. And we lost them in overtime. So we got to figure out something to get over this hump. But back to my question, Jace, how do you see this game going?
So Chiefs are banged up, and you guys aren't going to get over. You guys have this game marked on your calendar way more than they do. You guys won it, and it's at your place. So with Pacheco and Rice being out, that's huge, and I think you guys just came off your best game of the season. So I'm leaning toward picking the Niners this week. And is Mason's playing, correct?
Yeah,
He's
Mason's good to
okay.
go. Everyone's
Yeah,
pretty much
so
good to go. The only one that's a major question that's a starter is Chardavius Ward. Um, so we'll see how that goes.
yeah, but even if Ward's out again, they Juju was their top receiver a couple weeks ago. Like you
Yeah.
guys will be fine. And that's no disrespect to Juju, but again, Kelsey's finally starting to play good football. Last couple weeks have been good, but like I said, they're banged up. And if you guys can stop the Kareem Hunt running game, I think you guys will be okay. And it's going to be obviously come down to what defense can get off the field more. And I'm leaning toward you guys. We'll see. It's at Levi. Pretty sure your fans are going to let Mahomes hear it a lot. So, get loud. And yeah, I think the Niners could win this game for sure.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple key factors because I truly think with what the Chiefs have put out and their banged up roster, not saying we're not banged up, don't get me wrong, but um I definitely think this could be a 14 plus point victory for the 49ers if we do not let the Chiefs name get to our head when we're playing them, because that is a major thing, mental thing of playing the Chiefs for the 49ers is it's hard to get over. Um, we also have to account for the guys wearing those zebra outfits on the field. I'm not one that likes to blame the refs, but did we all see the crew that got announced doing this game? Um,
Oh, I did it.
is it a coincidence? I don't know, but Nick Bosa will for sure be in a chokehold at some point in this game, and a flag will not be called. And at some point in this game, we're gonna get hands on Mahomes, and a roughing the passer will be called, even though we will not lay on him at all. A PI will be called in a certain third down distance. It's as expected, and I hate blaming the refs because I'm never one to like to blame the refs. But with this crew, I will absolutely blame the refs for shitty calls.
Is this the Super Bowl crew? Is that
Mm-hmm.
why you're saying that? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha,
The
gotcha.
well, the Super Bowl crew's kind of mixed with crews put together, but the head referee, the white hat, is the Super Bowl referee.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
well, it's gonna be an interesting one. But I think the 49ers, like I was saying, have enough to go right and put some dominance on the Chiefs. And don't hate me, but I have not had the chance to listen to your episode yet. I know it came out today, and I usually do listen to it right when it comes out. But
Hmm.
my AirPods, my CarPlay was not working this morning,
No,
and
you're good.
I just didn't listen to all my car rides. So, what did you tell Jack for me?
No, I just told them, I actually said it right toward the beginning too. I think I said it within like 2 minutes of the pod, but no, I told them, just a friendly note from Trent. He said Bane Bane Niner game by 20 this week, and he just started cracking up, and I was like, I don't know if he's serious about the score, but he does have the Niners beating your Chiefs this week. That's what I
Yeah,
told him. So
I don't know about 20, but I could see it being a double digit win, just maybe 10 points, you know. Maybe it is just a touchdown, maybe it is a field goal, but it's kind of shaping up like that with all the reasons that we just said. And thank you for passing on my message.
oh, of course, of course.
But man, that you know, I think it's gonna be a good week of football, like we were saying. Let's just go into our pick'ems real quick, because we, you know, we do pick'ems, and if you guys want to play, it's $10. Jace, I know you were perfect last week. I was one game shy of being perfect, and I literally even had the score perfect on one of the tiebreakers, and then the other tiebreaker, it was off by one. I hope you're still on the screen because I have no idea where you just went.
Oh, I'm here.
Jace, are you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry. My computer messed up. Did you hear any of that?
Yeah, yeah, I heard everything you said.
Okay. Guys, my bad. The stupid computer, I don't know what it is. It wants to listen in and Siri was like, "Woo," and it pulled up a bunch of things on my computer, but scratch that. Um, let's get into pick 'em. We both did good last week, and I think we could do good again this week. So I'm gonna pull this up real quick, and we're just gonna go down the sheet in order. Denver, New Orleans. Who do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Denver. Saints are super banged up. Shaheed's gonna be on the IR. Olave's not playing. I don't think Kamara can do a whole lot by his own, and I don't even know who their wide receiver one for the Saints is. It's like some guy with the last name of like Topian or something. So yeah, who and also Carr's out too. So Rattler with
Yeah.
no one to throw to, give me Denver.
Okay. I'll keep it short and quick. Denver. Patriots, Jacksonville. What a shit game this is gonna be, and way too early for most of us.
Yeah,
So I'm probably not setting my alarm to wake up for this, but since Jacksonville's playing in their home stadium in London, give me Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Seattle, Atlanta. This could shape up to be a good game. Like I said, I don't know where Seattle is, but I have Atlanta in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Atlanta as well.
Tennessee at Buffalo. Um, Will Levis, Tennessee is not it. Give me Buffalo.
Buffalo for sure.
Cincinnati at Cleveland. I got Cincinnati. Cleveland, if you're not going to switch out Deshaun Watson, just don't even bother showing up on Sundays now.
Just don't even get off the plane. Yeah, give
Yeah.
me give me
Don't even
Cincinnati
get
as
on the
well.
plane.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
Houston at Green Bay. Jace, you're my boy. I will ride with your team. Give me Green Bay.
Give me Green Bay, baby. Let's do it.
Miami, Indianapolis. Tua's still not back. Give me Indy in this game.
Give me Indianapolis. Yep.
Detroit at Minnesota. No Hutch. Vikings are 5-0. But give me the Lions.
Give me the Lions. Me too. Me too.
Philly at New York Jets. I'm not very impressed with Philly. Um, I really want to pick New York Jets, and this would probably be the upset game. So I'm
Giants,
gonna do it.
Giants,
Or Giants.
Giants, Giants. No,
Give me
you're
the
good. You're good.
Giants.
Oh, going Giants. I'm gonna stick with Philly. I'm gonna trust Hurts. He has his two guys back, Brown and Smith. So I'm gonna go Philly, and it's the Saquon. Wait. It's the Saquon revenge game. I'm putting my money on the Eagles, man. Come on.
You know, I'm gonna put my money on the Giants, and I'm gonna say they hold them, and
All
they'll be
right.
like, okay,
All
that's why
right.
we got rid of you. Um,
All right. All right.
Vegas, Rams. Um, I gotta go Rams. Vegas
I
is just not
yeah.
it. They're a sell
No, they have no
dumpster
one.
fire.
Yeah, give me Rams.
Carolina, Washington, Jaden Daniels, let's go.
Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Yep.
Kansas City at 49ers. Let's hear it. 49ers, let's go.
49ers. I got it. I got it.
Jets at Pittsburgh. Give me the goddamn Jets.
Jets. Yep.
Baltimore at Tampa.
Woo! This is a hard
Ooh,
one.
this one kind of choked me up right here. I was about to say someone so confidently, but I don't know who I could pick with confidence right here. Um, Give me Tampa Bay. They're at home.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with the Ravens though. They've won four straight.
They're
It's
hot.
gonna be a tough game. This is a game where I tell everyone bet on the over. It's gonna be a shootout.
Yeah.
Two high-powered offenses, but I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson milking the clock toward the end. Give me the Ravens with Derrick
Okay.
Henry as well.
Chargers at Arizona. Give me my boy Justin Herbert and the goddamn Chargers.
I got Chargers as well. Yep.
Hell yeah. With that being said, that gets us all the way to the end of our episode. So before we let you guys go, Jace, do you have any final things for the 49er faithful tuning in, for the Green Bay Packers fans that come from your side, from any of the football fans? Do you have any last things before we conclude tonight?
Let's just both get a W this week. We don't play each other till week 11 or week 12. I'll keep cheering for your Niners up until we play. Hopefully, I'll get some support back since you probably don't hate the Packers as much as I hate your Niners because you guys just own us come playoff time. So, but yeah, I'll support the Niners just for right now. Can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, you guys need some wins desperately, and we're in the best division of football right now at 4-2, and we're tied for last. So
It's
yeah,
crazy.
hopefully we get some W's for sure.
Hell yeah. With that being said, bang, bang, Niner gang, we're out. Deuces. Thank you, Jace, for coming on.
Thank you.